It's not always fair to label an NFL quarterback who failed to live up to expectations as a bust.
Mel as the Falcons trading back to number 6, and at that point, taking the quarterback, Trey Lance.
What if these guys wound up on a team that better suited their skill sets? Well, today, here are 10 recent NFL quarterback draft busts who would have been great on another team. Trey Lance, Atlanta Falcons. The San Francisco 49ers gave up a king's ransom to the Miami Dolphins in 2021 so that way they could move up into the number 3 spot for a top QB. With Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson off the board, it was either North Dakota State's Trey Lance or Alabama's Mac Jones. The 49ers bet on upside and decided to go with the dual threat standout in Lance over the safer option in Jones. But as we all know, Lance never really got his chance to shine on the West Coast. He saw limited action as a rookie in 2021 backing up Jimmy Garoppolo. He opened 2022 as a starter, but unfortunately suffered a season-ending ankle fracture in Week 2. Garoppolo suffered a season-ending foot injury in Week 13, forcing the 49ers to turn to third-stringer Brock Purdy. And, well, the rest, as they say, is history. Purdy won all of his starts and led San Fran to its 3rd NFC Championship appearance in 40 years. The 49ers subsequently shipped Lance to the Dallas Cowboys for the low price of a 2024 4th-round pick. And to this day, we remain convinced that Lance would have been a star in Atlanta. The Falcons never got the chance to draft Lance, as they used the subsequent pick at number 4 overall on Kyle Pitts. Lance would have learned behind former MVP Matt Ryan for 1 year before getting the starting duties in 2022. Just imagine this dual-threat QB working under one of the game's best offensive-minded coaches in Arthur Smith, along with having Drake London, Tyler Algier, and Bijan Robinson as his main weapons. It's not too late for Lance to shed his bust label, but he would have been an established star by now if he had just landed in Atlanta instead of San Fran. Mitch Trubisky, San Francisco 49ers. The Chicago Bears infamously traded up to the number 2 spot via the 49ers in the 2017 NFL Draft, so that way they could take Mitch Trubisky. And as we all know, that was a move that the Bears would come to forever regret. Chicago passed on the league's current number 1 player in Patrick Mahomes, who went 10th overall to the Kansas City Chiefs. Trubisky simply never put it together in Chicago, hitting 20 TD passes just once and never even hitting 3,300 yards passing. But, you know, what if he landed with the 49ers in the 2017 NFL Draft instead? Trubisky would have been working behind one of the game's all-time great offensive-minded head coaches and QB gurus in Kyle Shanahan. He'd be complemented by a prolific ground game and O-line, with Deebo Samuel and George Kittle as his main weapons. Seeing what Shanahan did with the likes of Jimmy Garoppolo, Nick Mullins, and now Brock Purdy, who's to say he wouldn't have turned Trubisky into something special? Zach Wilson, New England Patriots. After the Jacksonville Jaguars used the top selection on Trevor Lawrence, the New York Jets snagged BYU's Zach Wilson at number 2 overall. And in typical Jets fashion, however, they found a way to ruin an ultra-talented Wilson the same way that they did for Mark Sanchez and Sam Darnold. Yay! Wilson has struggled with accuracy and ball control throughout his career. The Jets didn't supply him with the right offensive coaches nor a half-decent O-line. He can't take all the blame for his shortcomings up to this point. Now just imagine if Wilson landed with the New England Patriots instead. Yeah, no coach has better stressed and preached ball security and smart decision-making like Bill Belichick. Wilson has higher upside than fellow 2021 draft bust Mac Jones and would have probably fared much better in the Pats' run-heavy ball control offense. Having Josh McDaniels as his OC in his rookie year would have done wonders for Wilson as well. But, alas, Wilson landed with the Patriots' arch rivals and flopped instead. Daniel Jones, Pittsburgh Steelers. Everyone knew it was a huge reach by the New York Giants to take Daniel Jones at number 6 overall in 2019. He was widely projected to be a late 1st or early 2nd rounder, but yet the Giants didn't even want to trade down for the Duke product. It just made no sense. And now we're here, and sure enough, the Giants have one of the biggest draft busts in franchise history. Not that Jones can be entirely at fault here. Having 3 head coaches in 4 years, 0 stud pass catchers, and a woeful offensive line certainly haven't helped matters. Hindsight is 2020, but you just wonder if Jones would have fared better if he wasn't thrown into the fire as a rookie in 2019 to replace a struggling Eli Manning. What if instead Jones went to the Pittsburgh Steelers, who used their number 10 pick on another future bust in Devin Bush? Jones would have been able to learn behind future Hall of Famers and head coach Mike Tomlin and quarterback Ben Roethlisberger before taking over that offense in 2020. With Deontay Johnson, George Pickens, Najee Harris, and Pat Freiermuth as his weapons, Jones would have been in a great position to succeed. The Steelers would have been patient with Danny Dimes before giving him the keys in the post-Big Ben era. Jones would have been perfectly set up for long-term greatness in Steel City. It's just a shame he had to land with the dysfunctional Giants instead. Drew Lock, New Orleans Saints. The 2019 NFL draft class for quarterbacks turned out to be mediocre at best. Of course, none of the QB prospects that year were all that highly touted outside of Kyler Murray. But even that being said, some scouts and analysts saw something in Missouri's Drew Lock, believing that he would be a late first or early second round pick. And sure enough, the Denver Broncos selected Lock 42nd overall. Lock showed promise as a rookie by winning 4 or 5 starts and tossing 7 TDs against 3 interceptions. But after a woeful sophomore year that saw him toss a league-leading 15 interceptions in just 13 games, Lock was moved to second-stringer duties in 2021 behind Teddy Bridgewater. Then, in the 2022 offseason, the Broncos sent Lock to the Seattle Seahawks as a part of the blockbuster trade that brought Russell Wilson over to Mile High City. And with that, Lock's hope of being a regular starter in this league were done for. One can argue that the Broncos rushed Lock's development a little bit. Playing under a defense-first head coach in Vic Fangio wasn't exactly ideal for Lock. And looking back, we can't help but wonder what could have been if the Saints instead picked him up. Drew Brees remained New Orleans starter in 2019 and 2020. Though he missed time in both those years due to injury, the Saints managed to go 8-1 without Brees. The Sean Payton effect, ladies and gentlemen. If Lock went to New Orleans, he would have learned behind the brief all-time passing yards and passing touchdowns leader in Brees and another future Hall of Famer in Payton. Lock could have then succeeded in offense featuring Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara plus a top 5 offensive line. Maybe, just maybe, Lock would have broken out under a QB guru like Payton. But alas, this is something we will now never know. Josh Rosen, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Arizona drafted Rosen 10th overall in 2018, put him in no position to succeed, then dumped him to the Miami Dolphins after using the top selection of 2019 on Kyler Murray.
There were 9 mistakes made ahead of me, and I will make sure over the next decade or so that they will know that they made a mistake.
Rosen has since bounced around the league as a backup and practice squad member, never getting a fair chance to really establish himself as a starter. Now, what if the Bucs pulled the plug on Jameis Winston in 2018 and 2019 and moved forward with Rosen? He would have superstars Mike Evans and Chris Godwin as his lead targets, a top-tier O-line, and the quarterback whisperer Bruce Arians as his head coach. If Winston could throw for 5,000 yards in Arians' offense, who knows what Rosen could have accomplished? The Bucs obviously have no regrets with how things played out, having won the 2020 Tom Brady sweepstakes and Super Bowl 55 and all. But for Rosen, we just can't help but think that he would have been a shining star in the Sunshine State.
I'm absolutely the best quarterback in the draft, by far. I want to win Super Bowls, and I want to have the most, so I'm coming for Tom Brady's record.
It's just too bad nobody ever gave him the chance to flourish in the NFL. Mac Jones, Indianapolis Colts. The Patriots drafted the Alabama product 15th overall in 2021, and for 1 year at least, it looked like they had their successor to Tom Brady. Jones earned a Pro Bowl nod in his rookie year and led the Patriots back to the postseason with a 10-7 record. But Jones's play has crumbled mightily ever since Josh McDaniels left for the Las Vegas Raiders coaching gig in 2022. Not Jones's fault that Belichick gave him a woeful supporting cast, an atrocious offensive line, and assigned Matt freaking Patricia and Joe freaking Judge to be the co-offensive play callers in 2022. I mean, that move right there alone broke Jones forever. If there was a time machine back in 2021, the Colts don't trade for Carson Wentz and they instead move up to snag Jones ahead of the Patriots in the 2021 NFL Draft. I mean, think about this. Jones would have had 2021 rushing champ Jonathan Taylor, 1,000-yard wideout Michael Pittman Jr., and arguably the league's best O-line to work with, plus an offense-first head coach in Frank Reich. And then the Colts wouldn't have made another ill-fated trade for Matt Ryan in 2022. Oh, the humanity. Sam Darnold, Buffalo Bills. Darnold was part of the hyped-up 2018 NFL QB draft class that produced 2 stars in Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, as well as several busts. The Jets traded up via the Colts to take Darnold 3rd overall in 2018. But you remember what we said about Zach Wilson flopping with the Jets? Well, same deal with Darnold. Bad coaching, little talent to work with, a horrible offensive line. I think you get the hint by now. Unfortunately, a 2-year stint with the Carolina Panthers did nothing to revive Darnold's career. And yeah, it looks like he'll be a career clipboard holder from here on out. Josh Allen wound up going to the Bills at number 7 overall, and we all know how that panned out for both sides. Now, what if Darnold landed with the Bills instead of Allen? Darnold would have worked under a top-tier head coach in Sean McDermott and a proven offensive mastermind assistant in Brian Dable. Stephon Diggs, Dawson Knox, Devin Singletary, Gabe Davis, Cole Beasley, it's all as his go-to weapons. Darnold would have been well suited to go off there compared to the very little talent he had in New York and Carolina. Unfortunately for Darnold, he got stuck in the mud while his 2018 draft counterpart got to enjoy success in Western New York. Justin Fields, New York Jets. Man, what if the Jets took Fields instead of Zach Wilson? Who knows how different life would have played out for the several 2021 QB draftees who have flopped thus far. Fields has been held back by a horrendous Chicago Bears coaching staff in Windy City. Now just imagine if he went to Gotham instead of Wilson. Fields would be working under an actually qualified head coach in Robert Saleh with Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson as his weapons. Championship-level defense? Something he can only dream of in Chicago. The Ohio State product wouldn't have to carry all the weight. He could flourish as a dual-threat game manager on a defense-first team, the way Alex Smith did in Kansas City. Baker Mayfield, Denver Broncos. We still feel bad for Mayfield because, well, he could have been the long-term guy in Cleveland if the Browns didn't give up on him so quickly. How has that Deshaun Watson trade worked out for them so far? Yeah, that's what I thought. If only Mayfield landed with a team that fully trusted him from day one. And in hindsight, the Broncos probably wish they found a way to land Mayfield instead of taking future injury-prone star Bradley Chubb 5th overall in 2018. Denver has been stuck in QB purgatory since Peyton Manning's 2016 retirement. What if they landed Mayfield and supplied him with that supporting cast consisting of Emmanuel Sanders, Demaryius Thomas, Cortland Sutton, Melvin Gordon, and Javonte Williams? The Browns failed Mayfield and let him down. Denver would have been all in on Mayfield and would have tailored their offense to his strengths, something Cleveland selfishly refused to do. But hey, which other recent QB draft bust would have been great on another team? Let us know in the comment section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton, and hey, we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.